Today is Thursday, March the 4th, last NBA DFS video before the NBA All-Star break. So make sure you hit that like on the video and then hit that bell notification so you get notified for all of our live videos while we are on All-Star break. I'll be back again with one of these videos next Wednesday. But man, this is the last one of the first half of the season. Pretty excited. It's been a pretty crazy first half of the season. I enjoyed Bubble just a little bit more than this NBA season, but as I digress a little bit, I'm going to go over some of my thought process and the different free websites that I use to go about my process throughout the day. This website here is called fantasylabs.com/NBA/Vegas. This gives you all the team totals for the day, where the bets are coming from, how much the line has changed, where it opened at, where the bets are coming from, and stuff like that. It's very helpful to identify what studs that I want to play on the slate. I usually pick the studs from the higher team totals and stuff like that. So the first game here is the LA Clippers. They are 5.5-point favorites over the Washington Wizards. Clippers injury report is looking like Kawhi Leonard and Marcus Morris Sr. are both questionable, and that is pretty big news for this team. We're getting to get this news right off the start, so not too big of something to really circle on for when you're making your lineups constructions. I would just wait for that news and then make your lineups. But with the Kawhi stuff, man, you never know when that's going to come out, because last time it came out 5 minutes after the slate started for that game. So I was kind of a little bit pissed off about that. I bet the Clippers last time they were on the slate. But Paul George, $7,900. He's going to beat the cover boy in $8,600 on DK today. If Kawhi misses, he becomes one of the best studs on the slate. His price tag is way too cheap on Fanduel today, and I would play him on DK also as well if Kawhi were to miss. And for the Wizards, not really too much to report from this team. Ish Smith is still out. The only person I really have interest on this team is Russell Westbrook, $9,600 actually, and $10,400 across the websites. He always has double-double, triple-double upside. DK price tag is a little bit expensive, but the FanDuel one is way too cheap. So I do like Russell Westbrook. Seems like a very good game stack, mini game stack right there, running PG-13 and then Russ on the other side. Definitely makes sense. Next game here is the Boston Celtics. They are 8-point favorites over the Toronto Raptors. Over under here is only 220. Raptors injury reports looking like Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby. They're taking a little vacation before this NBA All-Star break. So the same three guys I'm really going to circle today are going to be Kyle Lowry, $8,500, $8,400. Kyle Lowry is going to be a little bit more in play today, because yesterday's slate, there was just way too many good point guard plays to play Kyle Lowry and go overweight on him. But today's slate, point guard isn't as deep as it was yesterday. Yeah, Jalen Brunson, Dennis Schroeder, Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry. It was just really hard to play Kyle Lowry yesterday. I didn't play him on one of my three teams. I actually played Norman Powell. Norman Powell got a big boy price tag on today's slate today. His price tag is $7,400 on FanDuel today, and $7,000 flat on DK today. And deservedly so, man. Norman Powell has been kind of the most consistent scorer on this team. Even with all those guys being out, he's just been balling of recent. I really like him on DK today. The FanDuel price tag, I got to look at some stuff, see how some other guys are grading out in that same exact price range. You're telling me PG-13 is only $300 more than Norman Powell? That just seems off to me, but I know they're different positions, and FanDuel is all about what you can get at a certain position rather than what the person's price is actually at. And then coming off the bench, surprisingly, was Chris Boucher. I wasn't really too scared off about him coming off the bench. He's came off the bench before. As long as Chris Boucher is below 7K, I think he's viable in the starting lineup or coming off the bench. I really like him. He's one of my favorite power forward plays on FanDuel today, and pretty decent center play on DK today. And then for the Boston Celtics, with everyone healthy on this team besides Marcus Smart, I really don't want to have to play any Boston Celtics on today's slate. Just doesn't really feel necessary. Even for GPPs, it doesn't even really feel necessary. I think there's better players around that same exact price tag. And then the cheap guys, I don't really want to play any of the cheap guys from there. Next game here is Detroit Pistons. They are 7.5-point underdogs versus the New York Knicks. New York Knicks over-under is 209. Pretty low over-under game here for both of these teams. Knicks injury reports looking like Derrick Rose and Alfred Payton are both questionable, and Taj Gibson's questionable also as well. And Mitchell Robinson is out. So it's a pretty big news for the Knicks to really address this team with those guys being questionable. If, let's say, Derrick Rose were to play and Peyton were to miss, then I would like Derrick Rose. Now, if Derrick Rose were to miss, then I would like Emmanuel Quickley and Frank Ntilikina a little bit more. Frank Ntilikina just isn't really good fantasy point per minute player, but that's why I like Quickley. Even if he does come off the bench, I still think that if Derrick Rose and Peyton were to miss, Quickley's just going to have to shoot a lot. And I played him last time. The same exact situation happened. Late swapped over to him. It was pretty satisfied with what I got from him. And then another guy I'll talk about just because he's at bare minimum price basically on both websites is Odie Toppin. He should be getting more minutes if Taj Gibson and Mitchell Robinson were both to miss. Expect Mitch to obviously miss, but Gibson would be the one. And Nerlens Noel is changed over to the center position over there on FanDuel at $5,500. So that kind of throws a wrench into your power forward plans today if you haven't already noticed that. Next game here is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Memphis Grizzlies. For the Milwaukee Bucks today, man, Bucks are coming fully healthy into this one, but I really do like Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is my favorite stud play of the slate so far. I don't think anybody on this Grizzlies team is going to be able to stop Giannis just doing whatever he wants to do. Giannis is definitely going to want to try to get some good momentum going into the All-Star break. The Bucks have been kind of lackluster of recent, even though they did pull out that last game against the Clippers late. But yeah, as I digress a little bit, Chris Middleton on FanDuel, still a pretty cheap price tag, $7,500, $8,400 on DK. I would probably fade him over there on DK today. And then Brook Lopez, price tag on DK seems way too cheap. He's a $4,300 price tag on DK and $5,100 on FanDuel today. The reason why I say his DK price tag is too cheap, $4,300, considering they're going to need his size in this matchup. The only problem would be wasting a center or utility spot on Brook Lopez. It's definitely a hard one to do, but I definitely think he crushes that price tag tonight. $4,300 seems a little bit too cheap. And then the Memphis Grizzlies, not a team that I want to play. One thing that really helped me out yesterday was prioritizing team stacks over game stacks. So team stacks meaning load up on the Warriors and not having a run back or vice versa. And that really did help me last night. I played Draymond and Curry, and I didn't run it back with any Blazers. I just played the other night game, which was the Lakers and Kings, and it was a pretty good lineup. The only thing that really burned me in that lineup was playing Jones, the center from the Lakers. But next game is – where is the Denver game? Yeah, Denver versus Indiana. This game is a pretty interesting game for tonight's slate because it's over-under is only 225. And a half, and Denver Nuggets are 4.5-point favorites over the Pacers. Just some interesting price tags in this game. Nikolai Jokic is the highest priced player on FanDuel's slate today, so I can warrant fading him on FanDuel. But on DK, he's only $10,900. It seems a little bit too cheap considering the upside that Jokic has. Jokic has one of the highest upsides on any slate. Also, Monte Morris, $4,600, $4,900. As long as Monte Morris is below 5K, I do like Monte Morris. He's been averaging 15 points, 5.3 assists, 3 rebounds in 34 minutes across the 3 starts, across his last 3 starts. So I do like Monte Morris. I think he's going to be good value on this slate since we don't really have any like standing out value like we had these last couple of days. On the Pacers side, the Pacers are fully healthy coming into this one. The only person I really want to talk about from the Pacers, though, is Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon's price tag on DK today is $8K, but on FanDuel, he's only $6,700. So that's that price tag did not make sense to me. $6,700 below 7K for Malcolm Brogdon when he's $8,000 on the other site. That was a very tempting play for me. One that really stood out to me early in the day. Next game here is the Miami Heat. They are 3-point underdogs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans over under here, 225.5. This game is going to be played in New Orleans. For the Heat injury report, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are both questionable. If one of these players were to miss, that would probably change the whole entire landscape of this game. I would give a boost to Dragic into my main builds, he would definitely be one of the guys I'm going to primarily focus on in the 5K range if both of them were to miss or if one of them were to miss. Also, I would be blind low on Tyler Hero, a player that I'm pretty high on for fantasy points, if Jimmy Butler were to miss today. And then on the Pelican side, the price tags are just way too expensive to play. I played Zion last night. I was pretty surprised that he 5X so pretty easily, considering that game was a really bad blowout in the first half. I think that matchup, though, was just way more superior. The Bulls' front court absolutely sucks. The Heat's front court's decent, but if you take Bam out of there, Zion might eat again. $8,900 is an expensive price tag, so it would only be GPP viable, not a cash game option for today's slate. Next game here is the San Antonio Spurs, 6.5-point favorites over the Oklahoma City Thunder. This game is pretty interesting also as well. Spurs injury report, LaMarcus Aldridge is questionable. Derek White and Rudy Gay are both out. Patty Mills, $4,000 on Fanduel would be the only guy that I really want to play from the Spurs. Seems like a pretty good Fanduel value play, $700 difference between the websites today. But the more interest comes on this Oklahoma City Thunder side. Second half of the back-to-back for the Thunder. I expect Al Horford to miss this game. He hasn't really played any back-to-backs this year, and this is the All-Star break, so I definitely expect him to be rested for this. So $8,200 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on FanDuel is a little bit too cheap, considering that he's $9K on DK today. I wouldn't want to pay that DK price tag, but that FanDuel price tag is really nice. Theo Maledon also as well, $4,300 on FanDuel and $4,900. I can definitely see playing him as a value play in GPPs. And then my favorite value play of today's slate is going to be Isaiah Roby. I expect him to get the start over Al Horford. I don't think Al Horford plays tonight, so I expect Isaiah Roby to be in the starting lineup. And if he was in the starting lineup at $4,600 and at $5,400, even though the news hasn't came out yet, I'm just going to project like it is because Al Horford hasn't really played any back-to-back so far this year. If Roby does get the start again, like we expect, he's going to be the best value play of today's slate, especially over there on FanDuel at $4,600. Next game here is the Golden State Warriors versus the Phoenix Suns. This game is not a game I want to play at all. The Suns are 6.5-point favorites versus the Warriors. I think the Warriors are packed in and getting ready for this All-Star break, to be honest with you. That's the reason why I bet the Blazers last night. The only person that really looked like they wanted to play last night was Curry and Kent Bazemore. Everybody else is on some weird stuff, man, but not a lot of interest here in this game. Nobody I really want to play on the Warriors side. I played Curry last night. I got good Steph Curry last night, but that was just a really good matchup. I don't like this matchup against the Suns. The Suns are kind of a slow-paced team, so this is a pace-up spot for the Suns and a pace-down spot for the Warriors. For the Suns, though, I can see definitely playing Devin Booker at $7,000. I think it's $7,500 on FanDuel today. I like him as a leverage play off of PG-13 in a later game. Overall, though, not a game that I'm really highlighting too much. I kind of like this other game, the last game of the night right here, Sacramento Kings versus the Portland Trail Blazers. I like this game a lot more. 4.5-point favorites, Portland Trail Blazers over the Sacramento Kings. Over under here is 238, highest over under of the whole entire day, which is going to be the last game of the night. De'Aaron Fox, $8,300, $8,900 across the websites. I really like this matchup for him tonight. And then everybody else kind of got like a price tag bump on the Kings, man. Kind of doesn't really make too much sense as you look right here. Marvin Bagley, $6,800. Harrison Barnes, $7,000. And Buddy Hield, $6,400. Not anybody's really popping out to me too much, but I'm about to jack his name up. Bielitsa, we call him Balenciagas around here. Balenciagas is at $4,400. I can definitely see playing him in GPPs. He's been kind of playing pretty good basketball of recent. Tyrese Halliburton and Hassan Whiteside are both still out for this team, so they're kind of running a shorter rotation than usual. And then over here on the Blazers side, only two guys I really want to play for this team. That's how I'm going to keep it pretty short. Damian Lillard, $10,100. Kind of burned some people last night paying that price tag for him, but he didn't really show up until the last 5 minutes of that fourth quarter. He was real off last night. I could definitely see him dominating this matchup against the Kings. We saw Dennis Schroeder in the same exact matchup last night absolutely smash at the point guard position. So I definitely do like Damian Lillard as one of my favorite studs of the slate, but My question would be, would you rather play Damian Lillard or Russell Westbrook at a cheaper price tag on FanDuel? So that's one thing that I'm going to have to keep in mind for today. But my favorite plays of today's slate, I would say my core plays or locks of the slate. There's no locks in sports betting, but, you got to use the words. But my core plays, stud option would be Paul George. That's the stud I really want to go overweight on. And the mid-range option, Nerlens Noel. I don't think I talked too much about Nerlens Noel too much. He's listed at the center position on FanDuel. I do think that his minutes is very safe for the price tag that he's at. And then on FanDuel, he'll get the extra boost for the blocks and steals. And he's definitely going to grade out one of the best on the slate for that. And then cheap option, like I said earlier, as a Roby is the best cheap option of the day. Go over here real quick. Let's play around with a lineup. This is on FanDuel for anybody that's looking. So let's plug in Giannis, Westbrook, and Roby. And let's see what we get. Let me take out Westbrook and put in George, though, because I like Paul George more than Westbrook. And when you hit the optimize button, let's see what we can get. Pretty decent lineup. We got TJ McConnell, Brogdon, George, SGA, Holiday, Jones, Kantner. Second lineup is same exact thing. I don't know why TJ McConnell's popping up at 5K. I know he smashed yesterday's slate. It was like one of the highest scores on the slate, but definitely not point Jason TJ McConnell, man, with no injuries happening to that team. But everybody, yeah, this is probably going to be a low scoring slate compared to the last couple slates that we've been playing on. That's why I kind of like hitting the optimize button so I can see what like the target score is going to be for the day and kind of play around that and see what I can do. But those are probably going to be my three favorite plays: Paul George, Giannis, Roby, and Nerlens Noel also as well. But I'm about to head on out of here. You can follow me over on Twitter at Getting Bills for all my picks. And if you're looking for a book, use mybookie.ag, promo code PUBSports for a 50% bonus on your cash deposit. Must be a minimum of $99, 100% bonus on the Bitcoin deposit, minimum of $100. The next time you're going to see my beautiful face is on Saturday, UFC 259, huge event, 3 title fights. Make sure you're here on Pub Sports Radio live with us in the chat, sweating out some bets, trying to make some money. It's going to be a great weekend. We got a pretty jam-packed weekend. I'm going to have the NBA All-Star game. I mean, not the All-Star game, but the dunk competition and the three-point competition on one screen with the UFC prelims on the other screen. It's going to be a great night. Make sure you're here on Pub Sports Radio, sweating out these bets with us. It's about to be a fun weekend. It's finally hitting spring. We're finally getting into the spring events like March Madness, NBA All-Star Weekend, the big UFC events, the Derby in a couple of months. So it's a great time to be on the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified for all of our live videos. I'm about to head on out of here. Have a great, safe, blessed weekend.